Hey guys, welcome to this week's episode of LJ's Garage. Behind me is a 2018 Honda Civic Type R. Special thanks to my buddy Rob for letting me use this car. But stay tuned, we're going to talk about it. I'm going to let you know why I think this is one of the hottest hatchbacks on the market today. So some quick numbers on the Type R. It's got a 2-liter 4-cylinder that makes about 306 horsepower. It comes in front-wheel drive only, and the only option that you can actually get the Type R in is the 6-speed manual, which is actually good. I'm glad that Honda's sticking with their true nature and having the manual as the only option on the Type R. One of the most controversial things about the Honda Civic Type R is this big wang right here. So this spoiler, a lot of people, they hate it. A lot of people, they love it. I'm kind of neutral to it. I think it gives the car a nice feel. I actually support Honda for making this car pretty outrageous looking because, again, it's a Type R. It needs to live up to that name.
The styling of the Type R isn't for everyone, but I actually appreciate Honda's styling cues. So take a look at this triple exhaust. That's a nice little touch. Moving to the front of the car, you'll actually see that it's got this nice aggressive front grille and the cool red accents all over the place, the Type R badging and all. And then these wheels are actually pretty cool with the red accents and, again, the large Brembo brakes behind the wheels. Since this is a hatchback, take a look at all the awesome space you have back here. There's so much room for activities and me. As for the rear seats, there's a good bit of room back here. I'm 5'9", and as you can see, there's just a right amount of space back here. But don't try to include a 5th passenger because unfortunately, Honda does not include a 5th seat.
So the seats are something that I really love. I love sports seats. I love the aggressive feel to them. The bolsters on these are actually kind of big, so if you bump the seat up a little bit higher, you're gonna have to find yourself jumping over these bolsters to get inside. It's not the worst thing in the world, but I can imagine within a couple years of ownership that these bolsters are gonna be pretty much useless. They're gonna be worn in and beat up, so that's probably something to keep in mind. Just might have to lower the seat just to avoid jumping over these bolsters. The interior is really nice. While there are a lot of hard plastics, Honda does a good job of trying to make it look a lot more upscale. And so you've got the little imitation carbon fiber hints all around the place, and then red accents. So it's a nice little touch. Again, on the steering wheel, red stitching, all to remind you that you're in a Civic Type R.
This is going to be the standard infotainment system you'll find on most other Hondas. And it's got your climate control, works with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. It's pretty much got everything here.
This is how you select your drive modes. So you've got your R Plus or Plus R, however you decide you want to read that. Comfort mode, and then right in the middle is going to be Sport. But you just toggle on these, and it actually changes the drive mode. So this is what it looks like on your gauge cluster when you actually switch drive modes. So in Comfort, you'll stay right there, and your gauges are a little bit red. But when you put it in Sport, as you can see, you start to get a little bit more red. And then Plus R or R Plus, however you want to say that, you get full red gauges. So this metal shift knob is actually pretty cool. It's a nice little touch. However, in the winter, it's freezing cold, so I'll warn you guys about that. And then in the summer, as you can imagine, it's probably nice and hot. So here's a picture of what a little sock that you could put on your shift knob looks like.
Even this push start is nice, red, and shiny.
Even though this car is front-wheel drive, I'd have to say that it does a good job around corners. It's not too torquey. It doesn't torque steer and do all that stuff like the Focus STs used to do. It handles real well around. It just makes you feel confident, even though, again, it's a front-wheel drive car. I gotta say, this is the best front-wheel drive car that I've ever driven. Another cool thing is that this car rev matches for you. It's something that, you know, again, if you're trying to impress your friends, show off to the ladies, let them know that you can actually drive a 6-speed still. Yeah, you downshift and hit your clutch and do everything that you need to do, and the car does the rest. And you'll actually hear it in the background, maybe. But yeah, it pretty much makes you look like a really good driver. And if driving this car wasn't easy enough, it's got a gauge that shows you what gear you're in. And on top of that, finding the gears is so easy. Like, you're never lost, it's never vague, and you're always confident about what gear you're in. Even though I think BMW has the best manual transmissions, I gotta say Honda has the easiest manual transmissions to drive. This transmission is so easy, the clutch is so smooth, everything is so precise. I can see why someone would actually buy this and turn it into a track car. It's just right. Everything feels good. When this car was first released, Honda decided that no, they weren't going to let the world know the 0 to 60 time of the Type R. Instead, they had the journalists do it. But now we know that the official 0 to 60 time is 5.2 seconds, and it feels like it does about that. It's not the fastest thing on the road, but again, with 306 horsepower in a front-wheel drive car, Honda does the best that they can, and this car actually delivers. For those of you that care about gas mileage, this car gets about 28 miles per gallon on the highway and 22 miles per gallon in the city, which are respectable numbers for a 4-cylinder that gets about 306 horsepower. Although I'm a little biased, longtime Subaru fan, and I would pick the WRX STI over most cars. I gotta say that this car holds its own, but man, I just love the way that this thing pulls. Oh, so nice. So easy to drive.
Whenever you drive the Type R in R+ mode, this is where the car really shines. It really wakens up and feels alive, and you can actually enjoy this car as a track car.
It's nice to have the Type R again because it makes you feel connected to the car, to the road. You're not just driving and having all these computers and driving aids and everything kind of help you along. You get a chance to actually really give this car what it can handle and really get into it. Whenever I get in any Honda, the first thing I always think of is VTEC, bro. And this car makes you feel that way. You're like, man, this Honda is the fastest thing I have ever driven. You know, it does what it can with 306 horsepower. It really feels like you can use every little bit of it. And that's the best part. You put your foot down and you don't get in too much trouble. I always get the urge, though, to pull up to someone and just go, "Too soon, Junior," and then hit the NOS. But no NOS in this one, just turbo spool. Woo. Thank God for these seats. I swear, these are some really heavy-duty seats that are made for spirited driving. As far as blind spots go, there aren't really many in this car, and that spoiler doesn't get in your way. The brakes are super sharp. Everything's really responsive. I don't know if I can really say that enough, but this car is a fun car to drive. I feel as though 306 horsepower is a nice daily driving number. Yeah, 400 horsepower sounds nice. 500 horsepower sounds really, really nice. But the fact that this car redlines at $7,000, and you can use every little bit of this horsepower, put your foot down, and feel like the best driver in the world, I think that's what makes the Type R so awesome. God, this car brings back Fast and Furious #1 memories. Oh, too soon, Junior. Too soon. No! Monica! Thank you guys for checking out this week's episode of LJ's Garage. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and let me know what your favorite hatchback is. But for those of you guys that are huge Fast and Furious fans, thanks again for stopping by. Special shout out to you guys, and a special thanks again to Rob. So if you're on the market for a hatchback, check out the Type R. It's got my 2 thumbs up.